Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my top 20 favorite movies list. Last time you saw numbers 20 through 11. Now we check out the final 10. This list was easier to make since it was easy to decide what goes where. Like last time, let me know in the comments what your favorites are and if my choices make sense or not. Alright guys, it's time to finish this. Let's dig this up. Just cracking the top 10 is the Disney classic Beauty and the Beast. Yes, the 1991 date is implied because we all know how horrible the remake was. I still get nightmares. While some Disney fans simp for The Lion King and Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast is undoubtedly my favorite of the Disney Renaissance films. It really reaches the pinnacle of animation, giving us a world that's vibrant and fanciful, but also dark and gothic. There's plenty of great visual storytelling here. So much emotion is expressed just through the animation alone that it might even work as a silent movie. All of it is used to tell a beautiful story with a worthwhile message that true beauty comes from within. Belle is easily the best Disney princess, let me tell ya. She's smart, resourceful, and brave, but it feels natural, not just strong woman for the sake of strong woman. Beauty and the Beast also has the single best villain out of any Disney animation in Gaston. Plus the songs are total bangers. Paige O'Hara did an amazing job here. This is a gem from a bygone era. It's a darn shame that after 4 years of YouTubing, I never got to make any videos on Indiana Jones. It's a great trilogy, no, the fourth one doesn't exist, and I've always wanted to write about it, but never found an angle to approach it from. Even though Raiders is widely considered the best, The Last Crusade is my favorite by far. It's a return to formula after the much weirder Temple of Doom, as it brings back Nazis, a more upbeat tone, and biblical relics. Plus, the late and great Sean Connery was fantastic in this as Indy's father. He and Harrison Ford had a great dynamic that was sorely missing from the others. Then to top it all off, we get one of the most iconic finales in cinema, when Indy has to complete the 3 tests. This movie is endlessly enjoyable, making it an obvious choice. You know, I really miss movies like 12 Angry Men. Based on the short play of the same name, it's a very small-scale, simple film about jurors deciding whether or not to convict a boy of murder. It proves that you don't need a big-budget, over-the-top jokes and loads of CGI all over the screen to be engaging. Nah, we have a setting of mainly just one room, fun characters, and incredible performances. Henry Fonda hits it out of the park as juror number 8, with Lee J. Cobb to antagonize him as juror number 3. There's such good characterization here, so even in a room with a bunch of sweaty guys, you don't confuse anyone with anyone. And it's crazy how 12 Angry Men has you so glued to the screen and attached to these jurors that you forget you don't even know their names. This is such a classic and definitely worth the watch. Bruh, no favorite films list would be complete without Monsters Inc., one of the greatest animated movies of all time. How on earth did it lose the Oscar to Shrek? When you start Monsters Inc., you know you're getting a fun and goofy adventure, but by the end, it's a tearjerker. The movie hinges on you caring about the relationship between Boo and Sully, and dang it succeeds. Bring tissues for the end. Plus, the animation still holds up incredibly well. When you remember it's 20 years old, the texturing and lighting look phenomenal. Randy Newman brings his A-game here with a nice jazzy soundtrack. To top it all off, Monsters Inc. really is a meme farm with so many memorable scenes and quotes. Best mid-credits scenes ever. Marvel's got nothing on this. If you were to ask any Star Wars fan what their favorite of the series is, chances are they'll reply with Empire. That's for good reason. Objectively, it's the best, but it's also the most Star Wars-y Star Wars movie. The dichotomy between the difficult light side and tempting dark side is as strong as ever. We get an even greater sense of a rebellion on the run. Darth Vader proves himself to be cinema's most iconic villain, and John Williams goes all out with the score, introducing us to the Imperial March. Not that the first movie didn't have these things, but Empire feels more developed in every way without the pitfalls of Return of the Jedi. And it builds up to one of the most intense showdowns ever, with the most widely known plot twist of all time. Before I move on, can we all agree to stop saying, "Luke, I am your father"? That's not the quote. this is.
No, I am your father.
Sorry, Monsters Inc., but The Incredibles is the best animated movie of all time. I've seen it so many times that I'm kind of burned out, but whenever I do another rewatch, I'm completely blown away. It's the perfect superhero genre parody, taking inspiration from many different places, combining them into something new and fresh, and then making fun of it all along the way. The jokes still slap as hard as they did 17 years ago because, yeah, the writing is excellent. There's so much great dialogue and the main characters feel so believable. But don't let any of the fun fool you. Writer and director Brad Bird didn't hold back. He made the darkest and most mature Pixar movie to date. 3 years later, he blew our minds again with Ratatouille, and then this happened. Is this cheating? Yeah, I'm definitely cheating. Just ask my wife. Christopher Nolan's first 2 Batman movies are both amazing, so much so that I've spent the past decade of my life trying to decide which one is better, and I still can't answer that. Batman Begins is the quintessential coming-of-age story as we see a broken Bruce Wayne become the legend we all know and love. The Dark Knight is a glorious crime drama featuring everyone's favorite clown. Begins establishes the character, while its sequel puts him through his greatest challenge. I've gotta say though, everyone loves The Dark Knight, but not enough attention goes to its predecessor. Batman Begins deserves more love, so here I am giving it. No one should be proud of both installments. Not Rises, but the first 2 are great. Well, you probably saw this coming. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite films, being great enough to be in the top 3. Because I love dinosaurs, people always assume that this is my favorite, but no. Just putting dinos into something doesn't make it automatically good. Fallen Kingdom and the Walking with Dinosaurs movie learned that the hard way. JP isn't great because dinos, it's great because of the unforgettable story it tells with some of the most endearing characters to hit the screen. We also get a well-developed message about unbridled scientific exploration and man's endless desire for control. On top of that, yeah, the dinosaurs were really well made and are full of life. Who doesn't get giddy during that Brachiosaurus scene? But when things get intense, man, they get intense. Once again, Spielberg, you're great, and John Williams too. Spider-Man 2. Freaking Spider-Man 2. Where do I even begin? Director Sam Raimi made the perfect blend of action, comedy, drama, and even some horror thrown in for good measure. It's the ultimate emotional roller coaster with every note being hit perfectly. And that sums up Peter Parker's life. Here us audiences really get a deep dive into his mind and the struggles he faces daily from trying to juggle being both Spidey and Peter. And dang, Tobey Maguire is so perfect in this role. I also gotta give credit to Kirsten Dunst, who gets unfairly crapped on a lot, and who can forget one of the greatest and most sympathetic villains put to screen, Doc Ock, portrayed wonderfully by Alfred Molina. His battles with Spider-Man are the best, but so are their deep conversations. And all this gets elevated by Danny Elfman's score, which is one of the best in film, which is something I keep saying a lot. There's just so much to praise here, so let's cut to the honorable mention, shall we?
Because, my dear Ricky, I suspect that under that cynical shell, you're at heart a sentimentalist.
Longtime subscribers should know that Jaws has always been, and will always be, my #1 favorite film of all time. I can watch it over and over again. I have, but it only gets better every time. There's always another line to appreciate, another character moment that cuts deep, and another orchestral piece to be swept up in. Jaws has no reason to be this good. Production was a nightmare, being overscheduled, over budget, a screenplay being written as they went along, and actors fighting on set. But through all this, a young Steven Spielberg was able to pull off one of, if not the greatest movie ever made. When the uncultured think of Jaws, all they remember is an old movie about a killer shark, but the material is elevated so far above a schlocky creature feature. Instead, we get a super thrilling blockbuster with a crew of super likable characters, and again, thank you John Williams. Jaws is a timeless masterpiece that deserves to top any ranked movies list. Okay, so the list is done. Those are my top 20 favorite films. It was no cakewalk to write. I mean, how can I possibly give enough praise and attention to each of these in just one short paragraph? Hopefully, I was able to convey my love of them enough so you got the idea. Once again, thank you for all the support you give to this channel. I really appreciate it and hope to keep giving you good content. And remember, if you enjoyed this video, to please leave a like, subscribe, and comment below your favorites. See you next time.